to attract buyers to that, right? So, you know, homes under $1 million in Fremont, that's a section, right? But who am I sending it to? I'm sending it to homeowners in the area.
Right, so to somebody nearby.
Yeah, somebody nearby. You know, it's really tough. You have to kind of figure out like what pools. You know, offering like a CMA, that's pretty rough. Nobody clicks on it, right? You know, everybody always clicks on like REOs and stuff like that. Of course, there's none of them out there, right?
Oh, yes, there is. I have one in San Bruno.
Oh, do you?
But I just have one pending in San Ramon.
Okay.
So, if this is,
Well, I'm saying for leads, like if you say like REOs and you type it in, there's gonna be like 3.
Yeah.
Right? So they don't have anything to look at. But like, you know, fixer-uppers, you know, stuff like that.
Flips.
Those are people, yeah, flips, you know. Good luck finding one of those.
this is a landing page, and I thought you were going to mail or email, and I thought landing page you actually want to get people to come here. This isn't something you send out as correspondence.
Yeah, so I use this in an email.
Email, right.
I use this in an email for when I'm calling on just listeds or just solds.
Okay, and so you create this landing page that people can find somehow, but you also email them the link to it if you think they might be interested.
Yeah, because nobody's going to find it online.
Well, it's a landing page, and
Yeah,
it's not tied to anything. There's no search.
Right. Yeah, it's like a
It's like a book in the back of the library.
yeah, it's like having a garage sale in the desert, right? There's no signs, there's nothing pointing to it.
Okay.
But it's here, right there. So this is what this is, and then I'm gonna circle back right around. When the house sells, I call the same list on a just sold,
No, we do have some pretty
right? And then that's where you're gonna get, you know, the first time around, since the call pickup's not great, and that's why I found that I have to hit them on all ends. And then when they do, you know, come here, now, you know, you've got a little bit, you know, a lead, at least you know the email's correct. But I mean, there's a lot of numbers in this system. Like, I mean, I've been purchasing numbers for 2 years now, and there's 356,000 phone numbers in here.
What was your conversion rate on these?
Oh, it stinks. Like, horrible. That's why you have to call 3 people at a time. When I first started it, depending on where I'm getting the leads from, honestly, like open or answer rates were great. I mean, I was getting answer rates of 7%. I mean, it was like, when I first started this, just with that script, just listed, I was calling for 3 to 4 hours a day. I was converting like 40 people a month
That's pretty good. Yeah.
into the database. Full homeowners, emails, okay to follow up. That worked, yeah. So I mean, originally, so like, my son was born, I kind of like took like a little hiatus off of like real estate. It wasn't really working my database. I was like screwing around with him all the time. And then I was just like, I'm gonna go broke. Like, this is not good. I have to get to work. And I went through my database, like a ton of people moved, and I just scrapped like a bunch of people.
Wow.
And I'm like, I'm gonna rebuild this. So now the database is 573 people. And that's the majority of when I work. Because when I call them twice a year, my answer rates are like 15%. There's people that pick up the phone and people that don't pick up the phone, right? If we're going to be calling people, we need to find out the people that are just answering the phones, right? People are getting numb to it because, you know, this thing, they ring all the time and robocallers and stuff like that. Yeah. So, you know, I think, you know, open houses are great. You dump them into the kvCORE and you start working them, you know, that way, and start small and, you know, get used to it, and then, you know, slowly start to build your database. You know, you'll have people that have, you know, there's some people out there that are like, oh yeah, this is my database. I have like 356,000 people on my database, right? It's like, no, you don't. These people don't know you. You don't know them. Nancy, Colin, nobody knows who she is. Yeah. So yeah, that's how I do it.
Have you tried the making it rain?
I have not.
Have you heard any good things?
We have.
Is this good?
It was okay. We received like 30 leads a month. The conversion rate wasn't there at all. Like it didn't work. But we also have so much coming into our kvCORE that maybe they just weren't managed correctly by the agents. So we don't really know.
I mean, I think with just anything, because I have probably through marketing and testing, I've gone through any CRM out there that you can think of. kvCORE, which is conversion, Commissions Inc., Boomtown, and Chime. Those are the top 4 out there if you're gonna ask around, right? And I think with anything, it's just a matter of when you invest in something, you gotta utilize it, and you gotta actually follow what its purpose is. And if you don't, it's not gonna happen. And I can tell you, I think a lot has to do with, like Gina said, it is a combination of the leads that come in and how we're working that lead. Because there are some that just because you make that first call and they don't pick up doesn't mean that you shouldn't be calling them again.
Yeah.
So, but if you're consistent, it will happen. And maybe your first 10 leads aren't going to be the best one, but the second round of 10 might be good. You know, I mean, I had an agent when I was using commissioning that would call, and he got a good one. And he did get good ones out of it. And then there's one that was not consistently calling, and, you know, he dropped some leads from it. And then the third one who called, like within a week or so, got a lead, all cash purchase, closed the deal. But he thought, oh, that's a little bit too much money up front, so he stopped doing it. But if you think about it, he just spent $500 and he made a $10,000 paycheck.
Yeah.
So it's so crazy how, and the thing is, the reality was he just wasn't realizing that he was not the type who was going to just pick up the phone and call. But like with anything, and you don't have to even make it rain. You can, like the way kvCORE has it set up, you can boost it and do Facebook through the target, through all the landing pages and everything, and you'll get organic leads also, plus the boosting on Facebook and so forth. But it comes with, it's a numbers game. You have to be willing, if you're going to play that game, you better make that call. You better be consistent with that technique.
Exactly. Yeah.
So same thing with open house, and I'm one for it too. Like I can convert and get their information all the time at an open house, but my challenge, and a lot of agents' challenge, is just following up to make sure that you do put them in like a auto search so that they are seeing the same house that they came into the open house, and just following up. And it comes down to your style. Like I love that you're saying you're only connecting with them twice, because there are a lot of people out there who push and push to call, and I'm not like that too, you know, because I'm not doing like that whole 8 calls for the next 10. Like they had a lot of different programs and
8 by 8,
8 by
12
8,
direct.
and it's just like,
I do a 12 direct to my database, and I'm upping that to 24.
okay, good.
And then they get market emails from me once a month, right? So yeah, I mean, it's probably close to 36, but like the phone call, it's just twice a year. And I'm very direct, so my presentation is very direct. It's like, I'm not calling to ask about your kid. You know, Rick's like always like, do the forward technique, I'm like, I got a FU technique. It's either, are you ready to sell and you want to buy? Can I help you? If not, cool. Like, catch up later. That's it for me. It's
Yeah,
like,
everybody has their own style. you
yeah,
know?
everybody has a personality. It's like, you do my disc, it's like, I'm a high D. My eye is like below, like, it's not even on the page. And then I have a high C. So, yeah. So it's, you know, it's a numbers game. You have to stay consistent on it. Just pick 3.
And one of the things is, as you're starting out, when you're closing deals, that you make sure, like, and I see so many agents who don't take advantage of it, who's done it for over 10 years. You probably close at least 100 transactions, right? So make sure you keep that relationship with that client.
Yeah,
and
those are the easiest.
those are the easy ones,
Yeah.
and people are always looking for the internet when they have that database in their CRM already.
Yeah.
So just be consistent is all I said. You know how Rick said, you know, try to call one new person or something like that. That's fine, or just try to call your own database. And if you run out the database, go to a business that you frequent a lot, you know, and then just have the conversation. But you always have to add into your CRM, but you also have to nurture it also.
Yeah. For the auto search, do you prefer the one through kvCORE or like going to the actual MLS?
I like
and do that?
kvCORE because you get to see what they're doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
I
you
like
could see
KV.
when they logged on, what homes they looked at, and then things that I do like on a Friday or even on a Thursday, just go onto your CRM and see what property. You can pick up the phone and say, hey, I noticed this a property, because you know what property they saw.
Yeah.
You could text them, do you want to go check this out this weekend, or when you want, just simple things like you're asking them. It's a yes or no question.
Yeah. Are they 'cause I noticed when I tried to set the auto search on there, it was fairly limited on the options that we could select on through kvCORE. So that's what I was kind of wondering if it was the best option.
Limited in what way?
I'm trying to think exactly. I mean, I know we could do price and we do the map area, but
There's bedroom, bathroom, square footage. What else
So-
would you want to?
I remember. I'm trying to remember exactly what I was trying to look for. This is a couple days ago. For someone from the open house.
Was it
But I
school
think-
district, right? Did you say
that might have been one of them. I think also like single story versus double story, and I don't even know. Do we have property type? I think.
Yeah, there's
there?
listing type, yeah.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that, I don't want to like just butt in, but
No, please.
be careful with all these like auto searches. I mean, like this is cool, like it does a little bit of stuff when you're lazy. Nothing is going to be better than picking up the phone and talking to these people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So just do the search on your own and then call them up and say,
Yeah.
hey, you got a
I
property.
don't put anybody on searches.
Yeah. Huh?
I don't put anybody on,
Oh,
on
really?
searches. Yeah, like open house lead. They're like, I'm looking, for this, because the buyers are like, they're
Buyers?
flying all over the place.
They probably
right?
have Zillow. They probably truly have their own searches.
Yeah, I don't even know why I print flyers, because like I'm the only one that ends up with them.
But the reality of
So like everybody's like,
I like
they're like, when was the house built? And I'm like, when was this house? 19. I was like, oh, okay, thanks. I asked the buyers; they have all the information on their phone.
Yep.
some of the Zillow properties are either gone already though, so sometimes it's not
Yeah,
accurate.
yeah.
And you have these builders advertising a property that's already sold,
Mhm.
so it's not accurate sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be the resource. You have to be the one that calls out Zillow and calls out, Redfin, and like, even with my sellers, like I always joke, because I always talk. I said, what we're trying to do when we go to Redfin, is we want to be a hot home, right? This is my listing. Like, this is a hot home. Now I notice, like, they're all hot homes. Right?
If they're on the market, the first day is hot.
Yeah, it's hot. And I'm just like, same thing as like when you go on to like, Facebook and you're worried about like all these, I got 2,100 impressions. It doesn't mean a damn thing unless you get a sale, right? Like it all comes down to picking up the phone, not being scared. I've said the dumbest things on the telephone trying to figure out what in the world I was doing, like, and even today I'm just like, sometimes like, I
Ralph,
don't
did
know
you
what
do
to
an
say.
intro seriously of like how you got into the business? And
No.
I think you should.
Well,
Yes, please.
I was door knocking. I was door knocking, selling alarm systems, actually, door to door. And then Rick was actually selling my parents' house, and then he's like, "What? This kid door knocks all day long?" My dad's like, "Yeah, he's like 6 days a week. He's out there knocking on doors, selling alarm systems to people." And then he's like, calls me, he's like, "How long do you door knock a day?" I'm like, "Just like 6 hours, man. I like burn through shoes."
Oh.
And he's like, "How many alarm systems did you sell last week?" And I'm like, 8. He's like, "You door knock 6 hours a day, 6 days a week." He's like, "You need to get in real estate." And I'm like, "Okay."
Say
Sign
no
me
more.
up. And then I started door knocking because that was just what I'm doing. And then I was doing like what was it, like Tom Ferry, right, or Mike Ferry. He's like, you need to go out there. You need to tell people. I couldn't imagine how many sales I missed. If they're not looking to sell real estate in the next 7 days, you trash them.
What?
What?
That's what he used to say.
What?
So I was just like knocking on doors, like, you want to sell, you want to sell, you want to sell, you want to sell, you want to sell. And I got some listings doing that. And then I was just like, then I started reading about database and, doing it. And now it's like, I don't ask anybody if they want to sell, right? I go in with, we're sending market reports to your neighbors and they're loving it. Want to get you on that too. Give me your email address. You're a homeowner here at 123 Main Street. Awesome. I'm going to murder you with flyers and 2 phone calls a day and an email once a month. And that's how we get leads. But my is a long tail. Like, I know when I convert somebody on the phone, it's 9 months before they even have like a thought of, we're going to make a move. I don't know why. So when I found that out, now everybody that I convert on the phone, I call them in 9 months. Because
that's the time frame.
I know that's the time frame. And now we, do that. So it's just building the system and trying to, figure that out. Open houses, I haven't figured that out yet. I don't know what that buying time frame is. I'm hoping there's probably some statistics somewhere out there on the web. I find that they are more active, but they're more shifty a little bit, right? It's like they're, now people, it's like getting listings and people are just like, I'm gonna work with you because you're the listing agent. And I'm like, you're gonna burn me faster than anybody else. So, when I'm the listing agent in open houses, those leads aren't the best for me. I'm looking for sellers, right? That's why I call, just listed, just solds. Because then when it does sell, then you have performance. If you're going to be doing an open house, I think the best thing to do is to type up something like on letterhead or something like that. It just basically says, I'll show you what it says. Okay, so I call this the 5 by 10. It's basically, it's 5 houses to the right, 5 houses to the left, and the 10 across from the open house. So, I get this letter.
Oh, are you following the letter that one guy does where, there's a program where he does, when he gets a listing, he sends out a letter to the neighbor.
Yeah, so this is the letter that I write. It's funny that I did this because the first time I ever did this, my listing got broken into. And none of the neighbors called. Yeah, it was awesome. So this is the
You
letter.
told me you sell alarm systems.
Yeah, I'm like doing both, right? So this is what I use, and then I door knock this to the neighbors. And then I if it's not, then I just leave it. I just leave it at the door.
That's for just sold, or adjacent property.
Open houses.
Okay.
Yeah, I do it just
Oh,
listed
for
open houses. Yeah, I mean, because let's say if it's not your listing, right? When I started, it's kind of like how I cut my teeth because I was tired of door knocking. And I'm like, I could just put out signs and people come visit me. I'm like, this is a good deal. I used to hold out, when you first had internet, when you didn't have a hotspot, it was the little USB. I bought the USB and I was at Keller Williams. I would just sit in a listing. I would get a vacant listing. I'd put signs out and I would sit there all day long.
That'd be your office.
That would be my office. Yeah, it was new home builders do it. And you could still do that today. I mean, now I'm busy doing other stuff, but you want to build a database, put some signs out there, open house. I mean, I used to get listings like the Twilights before Twilights were cool. Twilight open house. Now that the sun's up later, Friday night, Thursday night, hold that house open for a couple of hours and just put the open house signs in your car and drop it out, you drop them out real quick, get a couple leads. I mean, if you could imagine, like, if you do the math, if you're just adding a few people a week to your database, it grows fast. And then you just follow up with them.
And then the neighbors are watching you. So one thing you guys have to keep in mind, open house is also a place where you're interviewing, because your sellers, the neighbors, they're going to be coming to check out and be curious, but they're also looking at you to see how you're marketing this house in their neighborhood. So they're seeing that you're proactive, that you're really putting yourself out there and doing the best that you can to help sell the house and bring in a great buyer. So just be careful when you talk also, right? When you're at the open house, and just say, this is a great neighborhood. I just want to make sure that we find a buyer that can, be a part of this neighborhood, and just really show them that you care about the neighborhood and you want it to really have value to it. And so you do that, and then if they're seeing that you're doing more than just an open house on Saturday and Sunday, but you're doing a broker's tour, you're doing a twilight tour, and you're consistently doing it, it's like, hey, wouldn't you want an agent who's going to do that and active and proactive than an agent who just does one open house on a Sunday and call it a day or the week?
That's what I do now, but
Well, we'll have to compete. or if it's vacant, I think our team would be more than willing to come up and do an open house for you.
yeah, I think open houses are great. Like I said, I did them this weekend, did them last weekend.
There's plenty
I'll
of
do
us
it.
right here.
Yeah.
Me.
Somebody held up my Concord listing. Somebody I think held it open because I have a bunch of people that were agents that were like, my client came to your open house. I'm like, we didn't have an open house. 3 agents were like, my client came to your open house. I'm like, what in the hell are you guys talking about? I'm like,
Proactive. There's a proactive sellers right there.
I seen you on camera. No.
Wow. But that is what I do. Like, sometimes you might not have a listing, and I've done that in the past. I would go through the MLS, and you can tell which homes are vacant and which homes are out of the area, agents also, and you just pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I noticed the house is vacant. Are you going to do an open house? Because this weekend, or can I hold your house open this weekend to help you find a buyer? Because which listing agent won't want to put that, sell that house?
Yeah.
So take advantage of it. Don't feel like it has to be your open house. Like, Robert here is going to have a house coming up in Pleasant Hill, and so you want to be able, if he's not going to be able to do it, make yourself available. And if the house is vacant, it doesn't have to be on a Saturday or Sunday. I explained that. And even if someone had it for Saturday from 1 to 4, you could do a morning special and go 9 to 12.
It's vacant.
It's vacant.
Yeah, it's vacant.
There could be open
You
house
could do
every day.
it 24/7.
All those hot homes, I know I was just joking about that, but Folsom was a hot home, and I had other things to do. I had a listing I had an open house from 10 to 1. I ran out of flyers, so I was like, I have to go back to Hayward, drop off some flyers, and then go to Concord. I showed the house 3 times while I was dropping off the flyers, and I was like, damn it, how did I get stuck doing this? People were calling me online. It's a hot home, right? People are calling me, and they're just like, can you show me the house? I'm like, yeah, I'm here. Where are you guys right now? We'll be there in 10 minutes. Cool. And I sat there for an hour, and I was just like 3 appointments. I was like, cool, got some leads. So, yeah, hit up those hot homes.
Especially those vacant homes, right?
Yeah.
Like homes that are occupied by sellers, kind of harder to manage, but take advantage of those vacant homes. And like we said, like you could hotspot your phone. You could just pick up the phone and call if you had an open house and it's empty for an hour, but come to the open house with a purpose. To not bring like a romance novel book to just read and catch up when you're reading. Be purposeful and be real estate related. Because there has been cases where people are polishing their nails or,
Sleeping. I've walked in and agents sleeping on the couch. Like,
No way.
Because it's vacant, they're sleeping,
Yeah, if you guys haven't been in the business for like a while, like take advantage of these open houses. You have open houses and 25 people come in 3 hours. Like that is bonkers. In 2008, there's times I sat in the whole house for a whole weekend and nobody showed up.
Yeah.
That was boring. It was like, I wonder why we're gonna keep the electricity on.
But don't say it's boring and then not like treat it as if treat it as if you're working.
Business
If
hours.
it's not, yes, thank you, business
Yeah.
hours. You have
Yeah, I like
you
that
should
opportunity.
always be making phone calls, or kvCORE is very mobile friendly. You can update your
Going on social
notes, you
media.
can do things, and just pick up the phone and just touch base. So there should be
Thank you
there
cards.
should never be a reason why you shouldn't hold a house open if it's vacant.
Yeah, I think that's probably like the best source of leads.
Because you're gonna meet someone face to face. You know that is an easier conversion to me than being on the phone, in my opinion. So Ralph might have some.
No,
have better
it's 100%. Yeah, the only reason why I use the phone is because I can do it anywhere. That's the only reason. And I'm not that personable, so it makes it really easy. They hang up on me. I'm just like, did that person hang up on me? Ring! There's already another one in my
Another
ear.
phone
So I'm like, oh, that was that guy. Door knocking, I notice like every 20 people you meet, one person's a jerk. They slam the door in your face. So it's like I used to just tally. I'd have to talk to 20 people a day when I was door knocking. And then once I would hit them, and just like some days I would get 2 people. I'm like, yes, it's gonna be
That's
awesome
my quota
tomorrow.
for the day.
Yeah, like there's not gonna be any jerks tomorrow. And I got 2 today, and that's easy too. So
Yeah.
You said there's a way to get like Facebook ad campaigns from here, or at least get
it's
the
property boost.
property boost.
Yeah, just go into property boost.
That's
And like-
either marketing autopilot or.
Yep. So, or you can just select the listing. So if you go to listings here,
Yeah, this seems
yeah,
to
it'll be right up.
Oh.
Oh, wait. So if you go
Yeah, what are these two now?
sub property boost,
Sorry, I'll do the copy.
yeah, so if you click on it,
Oh, okay. So this is everything.
yeah, right here, you can save, you can email hashtags, so you can generate, QR codes, post to Craigslist, property boost right here.
How does it look when I boost another business listing like on Facebook?
I don't know, because I only boosted my own.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
I don't have my
what
own right
website.
now, so I'll just kind of.
I think that's the ad preview, this is what it looks like.
Okay. So the website where it originates from.
I mean, this is cool, because anybody that has ever done a Facebook ad campaign, oh my goodness, trying to get your demographics and I used to do that, and I was like,
You can't even do that stuff.
you can't do it
anymore.
anymore, right?
Like it used to be so easy to narrow down to how much they make, what kind
Yeah.
of work they do, what kind of nationality,
Yeah.
everything now.
Facebook got their
Now
hands
it's like
slapped on that.
radius is about it,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, this is super easy. I mean, for $60, I mean, I've only done it 2 times. So I basically just boosted these other 2 just so that we had leads to call today. But nobody wants to pick up the phone.
You can't set your own price? Like you can't customize your price, it's just set?
No, it's just set.
Okay.
With the speed of the market, right now, I've just been doing 1 week. That's just how I've been boosting. I mean, I think it depends. You have to see, this is going to be one of your pillars, right, in your lead gen. Then you have to set a budget for this, and I'm going to do this amount, right, every week, and whatever that is. And then you also want to pick, don't pick something that's at $2 million and think you're going to get buyers off of Facebook, right? Your Facebook guys are going to be mid-range, lower-end properties, right? Your fixer-uppers, your stuff that's beat up. That's the stuff that you want to run. You're not going to run these higher-end stuff. If I have a $2 million listing, I'm not putting it on Facebook and Craigslist. It's not going to convert. It's going to get a lot of clicks, a lot of impressions.
Maybe
It's gonna
LinkedIn.
It's going to spend a lot of my money, my ad money, because everybody's like, oh, look at this house, this is beautiful. And then they're going to share it on their feed, and then all their friends that don't have any money are going to click on it and eat some more of my dollars up.
Example.
So,